Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going somewhere pretty dark. We're stepping into, well, a hidden world, really. A place where sanity and madness can get very blurry. We're going to share some truly disturbing real-life stories from prison guards. Accounts of things they've seen, things they've experienced, stories that are frankly hard to believe but are chillingly true. For those of you drawn to horror, to true crime, well, settle in.
It's such a vital perspective, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because guards see things, extreme human behaviors that most of us just can't imagine. They're witnesses, often overlooked, to what happens when things break down. And the weight of that job, it's immense.
Absolutely. So let's start this journey, this look into the dark corners. We'll begin with stories where danger just erupts instantly, shows how unpredictable that environment is. There's this one story, a guard shared it about his uncle. This uncle, he was known as a good guy, compassionate, respected by the inmates, gave him extra phone time sometimes, little things, tried to be human. But then, last year before retiring, he filled in for someone, different wing. And that night, everything went wrong. 5 inmates they'd planned to break out, very detailed plan. They needed a hostage. And they actually respected this uncle so much, they planned it for a day he shouldn't have been working.
Wow.
Yeah. But, a plan's in motion, it's hard to stop. So they grabbed him. Gun to his head. One guy yells, "You aren't supposed to be here. Why the F are you here?" The cuckoo was just stunned. Other inmates made a run for it. 2 got shot in the knee, including the one holding the gun. The others gave up. He got out alive, but it cost him. Needed weeks off. Had to take his wife on a, quote, de-traumatizing holiday just to process it all.
That really shows the fog of war effect, you could say.
Yeah.
When escape is the goal, relationships, respect, it can all just go out the window in that moment. And that holiday, it's not just physical rest, is it? It's the mind trying to cope after that kind of violation, that fear.
And that psychological toll, it seems like it can stick around, become part of the job's fabric. This next account, it's from a retired officer, Federal Bureau of Prisons. His job actually landed his family on a Mexican Mafia kill list.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He started in California. His kids only found out some of the worst stuff after he retired. Like, he was attacked once with a pipe, nearly died, never knew who did it or why. And the kill list that led to these terrifying phone calls to his home, threatening his kids at the bus stop.
Unbelievable. The threat extending beyond the walls like that.
He also mentioned transporting inmates back to Cuba. Said upon handover, they were just promptly walked around a corner and shot and killed.
Good Lord.
He's pretty sure he shot fleeing inmates at some point, though he won't confirm it. Walked in on suicides, saved a few. There's a lot he won't talk about, especially riots. But he was head of the Special Operations Response Team, so you just know he saw things. I think he keeps locked away.
It points to this sort of normalization of trauma for guards, doesn't it? You're constantly vigilant, always scanning for threats. That takes a huge long-term toll that we, as a society, barely even acknowledge. The job doesn't just end at the gate. It follows them home.
Okay, so from those immediate physical dangers, let's shift a bit. Let's talk about encounters with, well, the unfathomable side of the human mind. The kind of psychological states, the extreme beliefs you find behind bars. One guard, he talked about being really profoundly disturbed after just an 8-hour watch over one specific inmate, Nikko Jenkins. This guy, Jenkins, he killed 4 people, randomly. Omaha, Nebraska. Used a shotgun. When they caught him, he claims he did it because an ancient serpent god, Apophis, told him to. And he stuck to that story through his trial. Courtroom antics, speaking in tongues, howling, laughing while they read out the horrible details about his victims.
Chillin'.
Yeah. And this guard, he'd seen a lot. His own father was a guard, but he said he'd never seen his dad as shaken as he was after watching Jenkins for just those 8 hours. Makes you really question the depths of delusion.
Cases like that, Jenkins and his serpent god, they really expose a gap, don't they? Our prisons often end up being the default mental health facilities, but they're just not equipped for it. They become holding pens for these massive psychological crises where belief systems and severe mental illness get tangled up in terrifying ways, often untreatable in that setting.
Right. And if Jenkins was unsettling, this next story, Johnny, this one really pushes the boundaries of the inexplicable. It challenges, well, everything you think you know about a psychotic break. So Johnny arrives at the jail. Ranting, raving, screaming he's cursed by the Voodoo man. Now, weird behavior isn't exactly rare, but Johnny. He was wearing a really nice suit. Wallet had an unexpired ID, a gold Amex card, like a premium credit card, $100 cash.
Signs of a normal life.
Exactly.
Right.
Turned out he was an executive at a local bank, got arrested screaming and spitting on the street corner, fighting the cops. So because he's clearly psychotic, they put him in isolation. Days pass. He won't make calls, won't eat, won't drink, just yells constantly for someone to call the Voodoo man in Miami and pay him. Mental health, medical staff, they monitor him, send him to a hospital even. Experts just confirm, yeah, psychotic break. Antipsychotic meds.
Yeah.
They don't seem to do much, maybe even make the ranting worse. Another week goes by. Nobody's called asking about him. He's losing weight like crazy. Went from maybe 220 pounds, well-built guy, down to 160 in 2 weeks.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah, and his skin, normally a dark complexion, it turned this awful gray color, just hanging on him. But the smell, oh God, the smell. The guard said it was indescribable. You could smell him down the entire cell block, a roiling funk, not exactly decay or gangrene or vomit or feces, but like all of that mixed together with this weird spicy edge like hot sauce. It was just nauseating.
Wow, utterly bizarre.
Totally. The few times he was a bit lucid, he'd beg the guards, call Miami, pay the man, use my card. But he didn't have the number. Then, one Saturday morning, the watch commander gets a call. It's Johnny's mother. She'd found him. She's thrilled, says she'll drive down tomorrow. And she tells the commander, thick Haitian accent, that she paid the Voodoo man. Johnny will be okay now.
She paid him.
Yeah. She explains the whole story. Johnny was on vacation in Miami, wanted to explore his Haitian roots, went to some voodoo ceremony, got scared, tried to leave. The voodoo priest cursed him, said he'd become a zombie if a certain amount wasn't paid by a specific time. Johnny just laughed it off, ignored his family, begging him to take it seriously. The day the payment was due, that's when he started spiraling. Charges were dropped. Next day, the family shows up. The guard goes to Johnny's cell to tell him. And the smell is gone. Completely gone. His color's back. Still skinny, but totally lucid. Eating lunch. Happy. Says he knew they were coming because the man got paid. His whole family arrives. 7 of them, all dressed up for church. His mother, this delightful lady, yellow suit, feathered hat, thanks the guard profusely. And as Johnny's walking out, suit all wrinkled, pants held up with a rope, his mother turns back to the guard. And she says, completely serious, you have to pay the Voodoo man. He should have known that.
That story is, well, it's profoundly unsettling. It forces you to confront how powerful belief systems can be, right? How they shape reality. Is it psychosis? Is it some kind of culturally rooted breakdown? It really blurs those lines. It's a stark reminder that our understanding of mental health is often filtered through our own cultural lens. What seems impossible to us might be terrifyingly real for someone else.
Okay, so we've touched on sudden violence, on these deeply disturbing mental states, but there's another layer here, just the raw, brutal, everyday violence guards witness, these next few. Tough to hear.
Yeah, this is where you see the sheer desperation, the struggle for power or just survival, manifesting in really brutal ways. Life can seem very cheap in those confined spaces.
One guard told a story. A lifer, inmate doing life. He killed his cellmate, and then he covered the entire cell. Floor, walls, ceiling, in the dead man's blood.
Oh my God.
He thought it would get him a solitary cell. It didn't. The guard then had to put a new cellmate in there while, quote, the smell of blood was still in the air. That poor guy didn't last long before the lifer got moved. Another guard talked about the 2 worst things they'd ever witnessed. First, a suicide. Inmate took apart a razor, bent the blade around a pen somehow, used it to cut his own neck until he passed out. Found him maybe 10 minutes later, just blood all over. Second thing, murder in the gym, guy's bench pressing. 2 other inmates hold the bar down on his chest. A third inmate grabs a heavy dumbbell and drops it right on his forehead. Said it dented his forehead a solid 1.5 inches. From eyebrows to hairline, all over, but the twitching after that.
The speed and just the coldness of that, it's shocking. And it shows how hyper-vigilant guards have to be. 10 minutes is too late for the suicide. A gym, weights, ordinary things become lethal weapons.
And it's not just adult prisons. A student teacher was observing in a maximum security juvenile facility. These kids were, serious offenders, serial rapists, arsonists, murderers. She saw 2 things that stuck with her. 1, a fight over a book, a single copy of a new book. Apparently books were power used for manipulation. Before anyone could stop it, one kid smashed another kid's skull against the concrete floor, broke his skull, blood everywhere over a book.
Just awful.
The other incident, also a crushed head. All the doors were remote controlled from a booth. A guard was leaving a quad, radioed for the sliding door to close. As it was closing, a kid decided to peek out into the hall, got his head caught. Crushed. The control room couldn't see him, couldn't stop the door in time. And the cruelty can get incredibly inventive. 2 prisoners trying to kill a third. Their shank, their homemade knife, it broke.
So what do they do?
They improvised. Put a pen in the victim's ear and stomped on it.
Oh, God.
It came out of his mouth. And incredibly, the guy survived. Another time, a guard watched a fight. MS-13 member versus the MS-13 guy knocks the blood out cold and then starts trying to pull his eyes out of their sockets.
No.
Yeah. The guard was stuck behind a barbed wire fence, helpless, just had to watch until backup got there. Thankfully, they arrived quickly enough to save the guy's life and his eyes.
The resourcefulness is horrifying, isn't it? Using a pen like that. And the fence, supposed to keep people in, becomes a barrier for the person trying to help. It's a chilling image of the limits of control, even for the guards.
Okay, let's move into some disturbing bodily realities and some systemic issues these stories reveal. A guard had to escort a new prisoner to medical, didn't know why. They get there, the guy has bandages all over both legs, walks really stiffly. Nurse starts taking the bandages off, and underneath is just rotten abscessed flesh.
Ooh, that sounds bad.
He was a heroin addict, shooting up into his legs. They were swollen and gangrenous. The smell alone nearly made the guard pass out. Then the guy tries to bend his right leg. The skin just splits open. Infection oozes out onto the floor.
Oh, wow.
The doctor looks at the guard, immediately calls for another one, tells the first guard, "You're going into shock. Leave before you pass out." Guard protests, "I'm fine." Doctor orders him out. On his way out, he feels dizzy, looks at his hands. His normally dark skin is sheet white. This guard said he'd seen everything: hangings, stabbing, shootings, guy blowing his head off, bodies from car crashes. But this sight, this smell, by far was the worst thing I have ever seen.
That really shows the hidden toll, doesn't it? It's not just violence. It's exposure to extreme suffering, physical decay. It's called vicarious trauma, the emotional residue of witnessing horror after horror. It builds up. It affects you deeply.
And then there's this truly bizarre and horrifying story. An inmate with pica, the disorder where people eat things that aren't food.
Right, non-food items.
This guy ate so much dangerous stuff. Metal, glass, whatever he needs surgery, like weekly. His stomach was so scarred from being cut open constantly, the surgeons eventually installed a temporary zipper in his abdomen.
A zipper. Seriously.
Yeah, a zipper. So one day, the guard does a cell check, finds the inmate managed to get out of his restraints, unzipped himself, and was literally sitting there playing with his own small intestines.
I have no words for that. That's just beyond comprehension.
Right?
It's horrifying, but it also makes you ask some tough ethical questions. How do you provide care in that situation? Balancing security with extreme medical and psychological needs, it points to a huge systemic challenge.
And speaking of brutal systems, Russian prisons, notoriously awful. They have this initiation choice. New inmates get asked, lose an eye or take it up the ass.
Oh man, that sounds like a trap.
It is. If you choose the second option, you're branded as gay, which apparently leads to constant, severe beatings. Either way, you're getting beaten badly unless you can fight them off. But system failures happen closer to home, too. This guard was on jury duty once. The case involved a non-violent DUI offender serving a month in county jail. Because of overcrowding, they put him in a 4-man cell with 3 violent offenders. One was on trial for raping a 15-year-old girl.
That shouldn't happen. Classification failure.
Totally. So these violent guys, they forced the others to fight each other, like Fight Club style. Beat them if they refused. Then one day, they just got bored, took the DUI guy, stomped his head against the cinder block wall, repeatedly. Just because they didn't like the way that he looked at them or something. It was all caught on camera. Then they made the poor guy clean up his own blood, hide in his bunk, avoid guards for 3 days. The really shocking part came out in the trial. The correctional officers apparently missed these fights on camera. 15-minute long violent fights.
Missed them on camera.
Yeah. The guard on the jury was just stunned. Like, why wasn't anyone watching? Why was this non-violent guy even in that cell? Makes you really wonder what else gets missed.
That case is it's a catastrophic failure of the system. Inmate classification, oversight, basic safety protocols, all broken down. And the consequences ripple outwards, damaging trust in the whole justice system.
And just one more quick chilling moment. A guard doing med rounds, women's unit. A woman who had drowned her own kids in a bathtub. She let out a scream. The guard said, "We hear people yell and scream all the time, but this was different." A blood-curdling scream that chilled me to my bones. I can't describe it, but it was one of the most disturbing things I have ever heard.
A scream like that, it's primal. The rawest sound of grief or horror imaginable. To hear something that cuts through all your previous experience like that, it suggests a depth of despair that's just haunting. Reflects the extreme psychological states prison can create.
So to kind of wrap things up, let's touch on the more insidious psychological games and how appearances can be so wrong in prison. One guard mentioned 2 different inmates, unrelated cases, who somehow got hold of their own crime scene photos, photos of their victims.
How did they even get those?
Good question. Part of the legal discovery, maybe. But their trick was to call staff over to their cell door, seem like they needed something, then flash the photos. One inmate actually told the guard he enjoyed seeing the horror in our eyes when they saw his handiwork. Just pure psychological cruelty.
That's not just being cruel, it's psychological warfare. A calculated act to inflict trauma, to exert power, even when locked up. It's a terrifying glimpse into true psychopathy, where causing fear is the only goal.
And my own cousin, actually, he's a CEO at a state prison. He shared something important about appearances, said some guys act crazy to get out of the general population into psych wards maybe, but others are genuinely deeply disturbed. Batshit insane was his term. And the contrast can be stark. That tough-looking gangbanger in the corner might be in for writing bad checks, but that old guy with the cane and the limp could have killed 6 people. You just never know. Appearances mean nothing.
That's a really powerful point to end on. The psychology inside prisons for inmates and guards, it's this whole hidden, complex world. Human nature gets stripped bare, pushed to extremes, the masks fall away, and sometimes what's underneath is deeply disturbing, revealing uncomfortable truths about the edges of human behavior.
Yeah, these stories, they really do leave you feeling uneasy. It's a raw look into that hidden world of violence, despair, the truly inexplicable things guards witness every day. It answers that question, doesn't it? What happens to people, guards, and inmates when society's rules break down behind those walls?
Absolutely. And they leave us with these big, lingering questions about justice, about humanity, about the real cost of locking people away for everyone involved, inside and out. What does it really mean to confine people, to guard them, and to stay human yourself in that kind of pressure cooker?
Indeed. Well, thank you for joining us on this pretty harrowing journey today. We really hope you take some time to think about what you've heard. If you found this deep dive compelling, disturbing as it was, please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Horror Docx. We'll have more unsettling stories and explorations into the unknown. Until next time, we bid you a solemn farewell.